Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the thriller drama films from 2025, titled What We Hide. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie opens with two sisters, Spider and Jessie, tearfully watching the lifeless body of their mother, Jessie, who has just succumbed to a drug overdose. The girls lift the dead body with all their strength and carry it to a nearby shed, where they hide it inside a trunk. A distraught Jessie then gives her mom a final kiss, before taking her locket as a memento. Afterward, Spider tells Jessie that they can't tell anyone about their mother's death, because if they do, they will be placed in separate foster homes. Spider assures her that she would rather die before anyone can break them apart. Later, the girls are having breakfast when, suddenly, their mom's phone starts ringing. Spider notices that it's someone called Reese, but she doesn't pick it up. They then head for school, but Spider notices that Jessie is still wearing their mother's locket, and that others may become suspicious, so Jessie reluctantly removes it. Upon arriving at school, Spider again warns her little sister not to tell anyone their secret, to which Jessie agrees. But Spider herself can't hold it in and tells everything to her best friend, Alexis, who is shocked by the revelation. Alexis worries that people might notice Jessie's absence, but Spider reveals that her mom barely even made it to the front porch in the past few months. In the evening, Jessie is dropped off at home by a friend's grandma, which makes Spider mad. She scolds her sister for accepting the ride, warning that they could have come inside and discovered the truth. At night, Spider decides to make dinner, but notices that they barely have any food. They eat what little they can find, but Spider reassures Jessie not to worry because they will receive the monthly welfare in 6 days. Just then, someone pulls over outside, and Spider realizes it's her mother's boyfriend, Reese. When he demands to see Jessie, she quickly tells him that mom left an hour ago in a car with another woman. This makes Reese angry, and he instructs her to have her mother call him before he finally leaves. This incident leaves the sisters extremely terrified, and Jessie says that he will keep coming back. Later, Spider finds Jessie in the shed, crying next to their mom's body, and comforts her. She reassures her that Reese is a drug addict, and all he cares about is drugs. Once he realizes that their mom isn't interested in him, he will eventually move on to someone else. Days later, the girls finally receive the welfare money on their mother's card, so the two head to the supermarket, and buy lots of snacks. They sit outside and excitedly enjoy the food, right when the supermarket cashier, Cody, arrives and takes their picture. An annoyed Spider accuses him of being a pervert and tries to delete the pictures, but soon realizes it's not a digital camera. Cody then takes his camera back and walks away, as his break is over. Upon returning home, Jessie asks how much welfare money they get each month, and Spider tells her it's almost $600 for the 3 family members. The next morning, they get another call on their mom's phone, which Spider ignores again. But they soon receive a voicemail, and it turns out to be from CPS worker, Paula, who is on her way to investigate if Jessie is taking proper care of the kids. Upon hearing this, the sisters are terrified, and quickly rush to clean their mother's room, which is a complete mess. While cleaning, they find a teaching certificate, and Spider reveals that their mom used to be a teacher a long time ago, which Jessie finds hard to believe. Spider then decides to say that their mom is at a job interview at a bank, but Jessie points out that her car is still outside. The girls quickly rush out to move the vehicle, but the bigger problem is that Spider doesn't know how to drive. Jessie reminds her of how they operate the go-kart car, after which Spider somehow drives, and manages to move the vehicle. Soon enough, Paula shows up, and Spider claims that their mother is at a job interview at a bank, though she can't remember which one. They also describe how responsible their mother is, and how well she cares for them. Paula then inspects the refrigerator, and the cabinets, which is full of food. Jessie's clean room also appears to reassure her. She then finally leaves the house after telling the sisters to have their mom call her. Afterward, Jessie worries that Paula might come again, but Spider reminds her that they've had many case workers till now, none of them even lasted a year, so it will be someone different next time. Elsewhere, we meet a local sheriff, Ben, who is investigating an accident involving 2 addicts, who crashed while driving under the influence. The heartbreaking part is that they had 2 small kids in the back seat, who fortunately survived. In the evening, Ben returns home and finds Spider with Alexis, who turns out to be his daughter. Spider then has dinner with the family, and mentions that she will take the bus since her mom is busy tonight. But Ben refuses to let her go alone and offers her a ride, since it's very dark and unsafe. Soon, they arrive in front of Spider's house, where Ben reveals that he and JC were classmates in school. Ben wants to go inside to talk to her, but Spider explains that her mom is extremely nervous about her interview tomorrow, and doesn't want any visitors. Once she gets inside, Jessie scolds her, saying she can't even bring her friend's grandma, while Spider lets the sheriff drive her home. That night, Spider apologizes to Jessie, saying she messed up earlier, and this surprises the little girl, as she has never heard her sister apologize before. Here Jessie suddenly becomes sad, and asks her sister how long they can go on living like this. The next day, Spider goes to inquire about bus ticket prices, and when the receptionist asks her age, she nervously replies 15. The woman realizes that Spider is trying to run away, and warns her that it's much harsher out there for girls like her. She even offers to call for help if needed, but Spider says nothing and rushes out frantically. Later, she arrives at the supermarket, where she runs into Cody again. He gives her the picture he took of her days ago, which makes her smile. He then invites her to hang out and take pictures sometimes, but Spider outright refuses him. That night, Jessie finds the picture Cody had taken, and begins teasing her sister, asking if they've been hanging out. Spider admits that he invited her to hang out, but she refused since she doesn't want anyone prying into their business. However, Jessie insists she give him a chance, and tells her not to be so afraid to have a little fun in life. The next day, Spider finally accepts Cody's invitation, and goes on a motorcycle ride with him. Along the way, he stops at a motel to meet a man named Dennis, and hands him some pictures. The two soon arrive at a forest, where Cody teaches Spider how to use a camera and take photographs. Meanwhile, Ben arrives at Spider's house to check on her mom, but no one answers the door, which is locked tight. He spots JC's car nearby, which makes him suspicious. His attention is then drawn to the nearby shed, but before he can investigate, he's called away to respond to an emergency. Elsewhere, Spider visits Cody's darkroom, where she observes his photographs of different people. She notices Dennis in one of the pictures and asks about him. Cody explains that Dennis used to sell drugs, but after his wife overdosed and died, the state took his kids. Now he makes a living selling moonshine and knockoffs. Later, Spider makes Cody drop her off far from home, saying her mom is strict and doesn't like her being seen with boys. Before they part, Cody lends her a digital camera to practice photography, and Spider finds it unexpectedly sweet. In the following days, the sisters continue their lives as normally as possible, trying to find small moments of joy amid their difficult situation. However, one day, they're at a diner when Reese approaches them unexpectedly, and he's mad that JC still hasn't called him. Spider says that their mother is getting clean, and doesn't want anything to do with him, so he insists that she repay him the $300 she owes by Friday. This puts the girls in an even more desperate situation, as they can hardly make ends meet. The next day, Spider goes to a pawn shop and tries to sell the camera Cody gave her, but the shop owner offers only $50. With no other option, she reluctantly leaves her mother's locket behind for money. The owner agrees to hold it for 2 weeks, warning that it will cost her twice as much if she wants to buy it back. That night, Spider arrives at Reese's trailer, and says she has his money, but pleads with him to leave them alone from now on. She hands him the cash, but the vile man tells her to stay a while, claiming he will show her what made her mom so crazy. This freaks out the poor girl, and she tries to leave, but Reese says he can't believe JC is clean, and allowed her daughter to come here alone. A horrified Spider bolts from the trailer as Reese shouts that he's not done with her. When the girl returns home, she quickly heads to the shed, where she furiously kicks the trunk and breaks down in tears. She yells at her mother, saying she hates her and curses her for putting them in this situation. The following day, Spider does some research online, and learns that she must be over 18, and financially stable to adopt her sister. That night, Jessie asks her about their mom's locket, which has gone missing, but Spider reassures her that it will surely turn up. Just then, they receive a voicemail from Ben, inviting JC and the kids for dinner at their place, which immediately worries the girls. The next morning, a desperate Spider approaches Dennis at the motel, and asks if he can forge a fake ID for her to prove she's over 18. He agrees and tells her his price, but Spider admits she doesn't have any money at the moment. Seeing her so tense, he feels sympathetic toward her, and asks why she needs the ID so desperately. In the next scene, Spider is hanging out with Alexis, and shares her plan to move away with her sister. She explains that she has found someone who can forge a fake ID, after which she will get a job and adopt Jesse. Spider goes on to say that she'll tell Jesse once all of the documents are ready, and Alexis is very saddened to hear this. After receiving the welfare money, Spider returns to the pawn shop and discovers that the owner has already sold the camera. She thus buys another one, and when he asks about the locket, she says she can't afford it before walking away. Later, she visits Cody to give him the new camera, but he tells her it wasn't necessary, and invites her to hang out again. Spider hesitates at first, but when he continues to insist, she finally agrees. The two soon arrive at the woods, where they start taking pictures, and share some beautiful moments. The next morning, Jesse, who has asthma, reminds Spider that her inhaler is almost empty. Spider promises to refill it after school, but moments later, a knock at the door makes them paranoid. It turns out to be Paula again, who has come to meet their mother. She then enters the house through the back door, but finds the house empty. Soon, Paula notices the shed and tries to enter, but it's locked, and we see the sisters hiding inside. The woman warns that if she doesn't hear from JC by the end of the day, she will call the sheriff. Afterwards, an exhausted Jesse suggests that maybe they should tell the CPS everything, since she's tired of living this way. But Spider orders her to stay quiet, and immediately rushes to find Dennis to get the fake IDs. Unfortunately, she can't find him, as he's in court today to fight for the custody of his children. That evening, Jesse asks about the locket once again, and Spider finally admits that she sold it. The revelation devastates Jesse, so Spider reveals that their mom never truly cared about the locket, or anything else except her drugs. Jesse argues that, despite the addiction, she was loving and not a bad person. But Spider recounts how their mom once left baby Jesse crying on the porch, and she would have frozen to death if Spider hadn't picked her up. She also reveals that Jesse's asthma was caused by their mother's drug use during pregnancy, which damaged her lungs. However, Jesse refuses to believe any of it and runs outside while breaking down in tears. She soon struggles to breathe, but when she reaches for her inhaler, she discovers it's still empty. Shortly after, Spider finds her unconscious on the ground and immediately goes into panic mode. She calls 911, but learns the ambulance will take some time to arrive, so she drives to the hospital herself. The doctor immediately begins treating Jesse, but refuses to provide any updates without a parent or legal guardian present. Not long after, Ben, who was called by the hospital, arrives and speaks with the doctors. He then informs Spider that her sister is fine, causing her to break down in tears. She blames herself for forgetting to refill the inhaler, but Ben reminds her that she is Jesse's sister, not mom. He then asks where JC is, but Spider doesn't answer him, and just pleads with him not to separate her from her sister. Afterward, Jesse is discharged from the hospital, and the sisters spend the night at Alexis's home. Later, Ben tells his wife that he went to find JC, but she wasn't home, and even the CPS worker said she's been avoiding her for weeks. His wife then suggests that the girls could stay with them until they find a home, but Ben explains that it's not that easy. There are more than 70 children on the wait list, and the chances of the two ending up together in the same home are almost non-existent. The next morning, Ben drives the girls to school, and reassures Spider not to worry and promises he will find their mom. Once he leaves, Spider reveals her plan to leave today, so Alexis hands her some money, and the two share a heartfelt goodbye. Spider then rushes to Dennis' place to collect the fake ID, after which she swiftly picks up Jesse from school. Shortly after, the sisters arrive home, and Spider hurriedly begins packing, leaving Jesse confused. She asks where they're going, and Spider finally explains that they have to run away, or the authorities will come for them. She reveals that she has a fake ID stating she's 18, so they can move to a different place. However, Jesse refuses to leave her school and friends behind, while also arguing that they cannot abandon their dead mother like this. The disagreement quickly escalates into a heated argument, and Spider ends up slapping her sister out of frustration. Just then, they hear a car pulling up outside, so Spider quickly rushes to lock the door. It turns out to be Reese, who violently forces the door open and bursts inside. He corners Spider against the wall, and says he knows their mother is dead, and that they've been receiving the allowance. He says he will keep their secret, but only if they pay him $200 every month, to which Spider reluctantly agrees. Reese then asks about Jessie, and when Spider claims she isn't home, the man shows his true colors and suggests they have some fun. The poor girl tries to run, but he manages to restrain her, right when Jessie bites the man's ear, prompting him to knock her unconscious. And then this happens. A while later, Jessie regains consciousness on the lap of her sister, who tells her that Reese is gone. Jessie says she doesn't want to leave, so a tearful Spider assures her it's fine and apologizes. In the next scene, the police arrive at their home, and it turns out the girls have decided to finally reveal the truth. Spider asks Ben if what she did was wrong, but he reassures her that all she tried to do was keep the family together, and there's nothing wrong with that. Days later, JC's funeral is held, and both sisters tearfully place flowers on the coffin. Cody later comes to comfort Spider through her grief. Later, Spider clutches her mother's locket, which she has retrieved, and finds inside a picture of herself and Jessie as babies. The movie ends as she places the locket around her neck, implying that she has finally forgiven her mother, and found peace in the midst of her grief. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.